to a comfortable seated position. And from here, we're going to bring the hands just, if you kind of notice, there are different kind of ways to position your hands. So you can go more far forward or more back. And you want to find the middle point between the two. This seems kind of fundamental, but it's important actually, where your elbows can relax with the least amount of effort directly underneath of your shoulders. And once you've found that, go ahead and just let your eyes close. Draw the low belly and low back in and up. And begin to just find your breath this morning. So take some slow breaths in through the nose. Let the belly and chest begin to inflate a little bit like a balloon. Pause at the top of your breath. And then exhale through your nose all the way down and out. Just releasing the breath from the top all the way to the bottom. And just do that a couple of times. So inhale, feel a real kind of energy begin to come in through your breath, filling up the body. Pause a little bit at the top. And then exhale, let the breath wash out from the top all the way to the bottom. And we'll take another minute or so just to continue breathing like this and find your own pace with the breath. And begin to let yourself settle so you arrive this morning. As you're breathing in this way, just notice if the breathing is easeful or if it's a little bit kind of challenging. And let your jaw relax. Shoulders drop down away from the ears. Begin to feel a rooted connection down, down, down into the earth below you. Almost begin to kind of feel a connection all the way into the center of the earth. If you can sort of visualize that like a root structure going down. Let your hips and jaw grow a little bit heavier. And then begin to feel a connection going up through the body, out through the very top of your head, the crown of your head towards the sky above us. And we start to feel also a visual connection all the way up to the sky and even to the origins of our galaxy, even going that far up. Just remembering that we are literally, our bodies are actually made up of everything on this planet, including bits of pieces from the stars. And we begin to find our center point, home base, right back in the body, right at the center of the chest. So it's so important in our lives and in our practice to remember how to come back to our center and come back to that sense of home that's built from the inside out. And when we remember how to come home to ourselves with exactly what it is that we're holding, any stress or tension or even anxiety, if we allow ourselves to come home to ourselves and we root our grounding in our center, then we're much more able to kind of move with the changing tides around us. It's not that we won't get jostled and knocked off sometimes, but we remember how to bring our grounding from within. And this way we don't attach our grounding to others, even to external circumstances, although we might have, goals and hopes and dreams. But when we attach that grounding into the center line, then it's not dependent on anything else. So take just 10 more breaths and start to just let go of the retention if you're still holding the breath at the top. Just breathe in and out through your nose. And begin to make just a very gentle sound as you exhale, as you breathe out. As you do this, your jaw relaxes, the two rows of teeth are slightly parted away from each other. And the space right at the third eye, right above the nose and right between your eyebrows begins to soften. So breathing in this way brings us back to the present moment, especially if we're prone to be a little bit kind of fluttering around with our attention. That soft audible sound of our breathing brings us back right here into home base. So at your next inhale, eyes stay closed and just gently circle your arms all the way around you, tracing a big circle. Palms of the hands come to touch. Then exhale, bring your hands into the chest and into the heart. Do that 2 more times. So inhale, circle the arms all the way around. Exhale, hands in. 1 more time. Inhale, creating a space for yourself this morning to practice. Exhale, hands in. Let your hands rest back down on the legs. And slowly we'll begin by opening our eyes. Let's come on to all fours, everyone, in cow and cats. So you'll begin, like we do in every class, just with a few cow-cat poses. So I'll do my best throughout class. Let your belly drop on the inhale, lift your chest, lift your gaze, cow. I'll do my best here around your back to monitor the chat box. If you've got any questions, if you can't hear me or Daniel, please let us know. Daniel on guitar over there. Or if something comes up and you need me to repeat myself, you can also unmute yourself too. So just do a few more back and forth, everyone, starting to open up the body here. And you're welcome to either have yourself on video if you like, or have the video off. Yeah, I'm so glad you all made it. I've actually got my mom in the class today and Daniel's mom. How cool is that? So, hey moms. And I'm glad you made it, Hannah and Christine and Lisa, Bianca, Tina, Paul, everyone who's here. Happy Memorial Day weekend, although the days are a little bit different, now. So just do one more back and forth cow and cats. And then we'll come back to neutral tabletop. Today we're going to do little shoulder openings. So you're going to take your right arm out and up a little bit towards the sky. Then on the exhale, either bring the forearm or shoulder down. You'll draw your left arm forward and come up onto your fingertips. Engage the core very gently and draw your left hip back, just a very small amount, not even, barely back, maybe like a millimeter back. Just keep really gentle this morning. Breathe between your shoulders into any stiffness there. And then slowly bring your left palm down and come back up to table. And we'll take our left arm out and up. You can see Greta over there too. Everyone's in class today, either forearm or shoulder down. Right arm goes forward, high up on your fingertips. Engage the core gently and just draw your right hip back, just a very small amount. And go ahead and bring that right hand palm down, come back to table. And we'll walk our arms forward just a little bit. Draw your knees a tiny bit wider. Toes are tucked under and begin to circle the hips. So just opening up the body here. Go ahead and bring your eyes either in a very soft position, almost like half masked, half opened, or close the eyes and just begin to feel the body this morning. Or if you're in a later time zone, this afternoon, I should say. Just a few more circles around. And when you're ready, go the other way. If you've been in my classes, you're familiar with these openings, right? I tend to do them almost every class because they're just so effective to help us break up any tension from excessive sitting, from tight hips, tight shoulders. and then come back to center. Now, draw your knees in just a little bit closer, and we'll find our first downward facing dog. So the hips lift up and back. You can come up to your tippy toes. You can also be in puppy dog if you need, with your knees on the ground. Today, I want you to soften between your shoulders. So there's just a little bit of a relaxation that happens between your shoulders. Let your head and neck relax. You can move it from side to side. Then we'll make our way back to center with the head and lift your right leg off the ground, just straight back. Exhale, knee to the chest, shoulders over the wrist. Then inhale, extend that leg back. Exhale, knee to the chest, the shoulders go forward a little bit. Then inhale, extend back. One more time, exhale, knee in, and then step the foot forward. Help the foot forward if it doesn't come all the way between your hands. Rise up onto your fingertips, lift your gaze. You can also use blocks under your hands. And step forward into a forward fold. So here, knees are bent. You can see feet are about hip distance apart. Keep your hands either on the ground, or you can get blocks or other props under your hands. Head and neck is relaxed. And give your head a little shake from side to side. A little bit up and down. And back to center. Let's all inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower. Bend the knees. Inhale, circle all the way around. Reach all the way up tall. Rise to stand. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, circle all the way around. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, and you're going to step your left leg to the back of your mat. So your right leg is forward again. Bring your left hand down, but a few inches wider to the left, and draw your right hand on top of your right thigh. Get your legs high, so lift your back leg a little bit and lift even that front thigh. Then extend that right arm up to the sky. So a nice opening here. And I want you to pay attention to how your shoulders feel. Relax the shoulders just a little bit. You're either welcome to stay here or extend your right arm forward with your palm down. If you find that that's really challenging, you can even bend your elbow a little bit or just bring your arms straight up to the sky. Now, last thing, let's lift our gaze up and find your breath. Then bring both hands back down. Left hand goes closer. Find downward facing dog. Remember, soften between the shoulders. Let's inhale. Lift the left leg straight back. Toes point down. Exhale, knee to the chest, shoulders over the wrist. Then inhale, extend the leg back. Exhale, knee to the chest. Last time, inhale back. Exhale, step the foot forward. Just like before, help it if you need. Come up onto your fingertips, lift your gaze, then step to the top of your mats. Forward fold, knees bent, hands to the ground or to a block. Head and neck is relaxed. Make sure it's not a struggle, so bend the knees if it is. Inhale, halfway lift, hands at the shins or thighs. Exhale, lower. Bend the knees, inhale, circle all the way up to the sky, reach up tall. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, circle all the way around. Exhale, fold to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Now bring your hands down, bend your knees, and step your right leg to the back of your mat, or whatever you're using. We'll bring our right hand wider, just like the first side. Now take your left hand to your thigh. Open your chest to the left, and extend the left arm upwards towards the sky. Make sure those legs are a little bit lifted, and maybe draw that left arm across the ear. So the arm doesn't touch the ear, it is lifted about 4 inches away. Palm faces down and maybe lift your gaze. Find your breath. Bring both hands down, right hand in closer, and find downward facing dog. Take an exhale. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, bring your knees down. For the first one, we'll do knees down, shoulders past the wrists, and lower to the ground. Untuck the toes, press down through the feet and rise up, cobra pose. 2 more, exhale, forehead down. Press down through the feet, rise up, cobra, maybe a little higher. Exhale down, make sure there's no pain. Rise up, cobra. If there is pain, you just don't lift as high. Exhale down. Find downward facing dog all the way back. Settle on in. Take 2 breaths in downward facing dog. Make sure your jaw is relaxed. Remember that space between the shoulder blades softens here. So we soften back behind the heart. Let's inhale, lift the right leg straight back. Exhale, draw the knee to the chest and step the foot forward. Bring your back knee down, untuck your back toes, engage the core and bring your hands up to your hips. Low lunge. Pad the back knee if you need. If it feels a little bit sensitive on the ground, bring a blanket or a pillow under it. Then let's add the arms. Reach the arms up to the sky. Shoulders relaxed down away from the ears, and then rotate your palms to face towards your sort of back body or towards the wall behind you. Now we're going to let our eyes close and take 2 more breaths. You can feel into it if you want to bend your front knee a little bit more, that's okay, but make sure you equally engage through your core. Maybe your chest lifts just a little bit up towards the ceiling. And open your eyes. Exhale, lower your hands down. Let's walk our right foot forward, just about an inch or 2. Gently straighten the leg. Hands go back. You can grab blocks or other sort of props that you can get at home if you need under your hands, and come to a forward fold over the right leg. Draw your right toes actively towards your face. Inhale, again, lift up halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Then slowly, let's draw the right heel back a few inches, bend the knee, and find downward facing dog. On your in-breath, lift your left leg off the ground, straight back, toes point down. Exhale, knee to the chest, step the foot forward. Bring your right knee down, untuck the right toes, hands to the hips. So I always like to start, especially with the first couple of active poses like this, hands at the hips so I can really get my low belly and core online, and then add my arms. So we want to focus on working from the ground up. I talk about this a lot in my classes. So you really get rooted through the legs, active in the core, and then you add the reach of the arms. Rotate the palms to face backwards. Let your shoulders drop and let your eyes close and take a few breaths. Just like before, if you want, you can bend the left knee a little bit more and maybe open the chest, just getting another depth in the stretch. Open your eyes, lower your hands down. Walk your front foot forward just a little bit and straighten the leg, hands under your shoulders. So we activate through the toes and then forward fold. So for the practice to be strong, right, we can actually be easeful the whole time. Let's inhale, lift halfway, and exhale, forward fold. Draw your left heel back, bend the knee, and find downward facing dog. There's enough effort going on in the world right now. We can find ease here. Let your head relax. Let's inhale, come forward to plank. Now you're at choice whether you want to bring your knees down or keep your knees lifted. Draw your shoulders past your wrists and lower to the ground. Untuck the toes, rise up, cobra. And exhale, find downward facing dog. Rise up to your tippy toes, bend your knees, gaze forward. Use your breath. On the exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower. Bend your knees and come into chair pose. Just a few breaths. So in chair pose, especially if you've got sensitive low back, I want you to bring one hand to your low back and make sure that there's a gentle curve, but then bring your other hand to your belly and draw your low belly in. When that happens, your low back has adequate support. So it's not flat and it's not overarched, right? It's right between the two. Then bring your arms back up to the sky. Now listen to your knees. We're gonna lower down, keep that core engaged, maybe a little bit more. If it hurts the knees, you come up higher. Shoulders relax, bring your gaze straight ahead, take one more breath, then rise to stand, arms by your side. Inhale, circle the arms all the way around. Exhale, swan dive, arms come down and to the side. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, bend your knees and step your left leg to the back of your back. Keep your right knee bent right over your ankle, not past it. Walk the foot forward if it's past it. And then bring your hands up to your hips. High lunge. You can always repeat back knee down, low lunge if you need. Make sure your knee is pointing straight ahead, your right knee. Then begin to lift in and up through your low belly. Remember, low belly and low back, just like chair pose. And add the arms. Reach upwards towards the sky. Shoulders soften down away from the ears, and then you can't quite see my hands, right? The screen's not big enough, but the palms are rotating back towards the wall behind you. Just like we did in low lunge, you're invited to close your eyes. Might be a little bit harder here. It's always good in the practice to test our balance. Notice where you're over efforting, where you can relax a little bit. Then everyone open your eyes. We're gonna bring our hands to the heart. Inhale, lift chest to hands. Exhale, take left elbow on top of the right thigh. If you need, your back knee can come down, okay? If you need, that's all right. So whether the back knee is lifted or down, I want you to just lighten the pressure of the palms so they're not jamming to each other. Maybe open your chest towards your hands. Draw your right hip back, left hip forward. Let go of perfection, do your best, and then bring your hands to frame your front foot. Now we're all gonna step our back foot in about 4 to 6 inches until your heel can come down. Some of you that may be further, others longer. Your hands are on the ground or hands to blocks. Bend your front knee, head is down. Note if you don't have blocks and you've got really anything, pillows, books, a table nearby, you can always use that too. And inhale, lift halfway, high up on your fingertips, or again, using a block. Exhale, fold, pyramid pose. And we're gonna bend the front knee, step your left foot back, and come to downward facing dog. And just take a few breaths. You'll probably feel a difference in the right leg to the left leg here, more circulation in the right. Let's inhale, lift the left leg off the ground. Exhale, draw the knee to the chest and step the foot forward. Come up onto your fingertips, then step to the top of your mat. So both feet are forward. Bend your knees and come into chair pose. Again, so, some teachers teach legs together, right? If you prefer that, you're welcome to come to it. I find feet hip distance apart is more supportive for my hips. So if you want, you can bring your hands to your hips, one to the low belly and back. Make sure that the core and low back feels supported and engaged. And then reach the arms up. Now we're gonna lower down a little bit more, always listening to the knees, make sure it feels okay. It's probably gonna be challenging. Then straighten the legs, arms by your side. Inhale, circle all the way around. Exhale, swan dive, arms down to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, bend the knees, step your right leg back, nice and long. Then slowly bring your hands up to your hips. High lunge, side 2. So always make sure you can see that front big toe, that the knee is pointing straight ahead, and we'll add the arms. Just like before, shoulders soften, palms rotate back. The ribs do have to draw in, so you're not like, peacocking out or anything like that. And we'll go ahead and soften or close your eyes. If you're really struggling with balance, just relax your eyes at a fixed, non-moving point that's in front of you. Find a steadiness through your breath. One side may be harder than the other with this balance. Make sure you're not adding tension. Open the eyes if they're closed. Let's all bring our hands to the heart. Inhale, lift chest to hands. Exhale, take right elbow on top of left thigh. Go very, very slow. Begin to lighten the pressure of your palms, but at the same time, open your chest to your hands. Draw right hip forward, left hip back. It's going to be a little tricky, even if you do this pose a lot. Find steadiness and softness in the opening. Then exhale, lower your hands down. Take your back foot, step it forward about 4 to 6 inches until your heel can come down. Use props if you need, under your hands, forward fold. Head and neck is relaxed. Then inhale, lift halfway. Make sure you're not locking the knees. Exhale, forward fold. And this time we're actually going to step all the way forward, completely to forward fold with both feet. Bend your knees. Inhale, circle all the way up to the sky. Reach up tall, mountain pose. Exhale, hands in at the heart. All right, so if you have blocks, I'm going to encourage you to grab them. If you don't have blocks and you just got like a chair or something that you can use under your hands in case, you could even like flip a glass over, something that's sturdy. And what we're going to do is step back into pyramid pose again, and we're going to add a little twist in. This is really great for the low back. I've been hearing a lot about the low back lately with all the sitting we're doing. So your hands are at your hips. You're, at the top of your mat or whatever space you're working with, and the blocks or whatever you're using are nearby. You're going to bend your knees a little bit and step your left leg back about 2 feet. So I always like to kind of wiggle my way in. You want to have your feet as far apart as possible with both heels down, approximately. And the back foot, the toes point towards, if you're using a mat, the upper left-hand corner. If you're not using a mat, at like 11 o'clock. Then bring your right foot just a smidge wider, like another, let's say 2 inches to the right. So both legs are straight. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our arms actually back. So you're going to bring your arms back, engage the muscles. Now, either grab opposite wrists, forearms, or elbows. As you do this, you're going to lift up tall, draw your right hip back, left hip forward. Remember, don't lock the knees, a little bend, and come down halfway. If you're really balanced challenged, you've got those blocks and you can grab them, right? You can use them if needed. And then we'll bow down all the way over the right leg, head and neck is relaxed. Here, to add to your balance, hug the inner thighs in a little bit toward each other and let your breath just relax. If you feel really wobbly, bring your right foot a few inches wider to the right, actually. You can go pretty wide here. 2 more breaths. So you've got to press down through your feet and kind of actively draw up through your legs. And then you, from that space, the strong, stable low body, you let the upper body melt. Now everyone, we're going to gently just release our hands down, either to the ground or get blocks or other props under your hands. You want to bring, if you're using blocks, your blocks under your shoulders. So they, want to bring your hands under your shoulders. Then bring your right hand to your right hip, everyone. So you're pressing down through both feet. Left hand is either to the block or to the ground. If it hurts your back, get something under your left hand. Draw your right hip back, open your chest. You can either stay here or reach that right arm up to the sky. So if there's any compression in your low back, relax the effort and get a block or something under your left hand. Okay, everyone? So the right arm is either at your hip or reaching up to the sky. Maybe lift your gaze, revolved triangle pose. And exhale, both hands now, either to the blocks or to the ground. Keep pressing through your right big toe. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, one more, forward fold. Bend the knee as you need. And now we're gonna step both legs forward to forward fold. Slowly circle your arms all the way up to the sky, reach up tall, hands down. Now you'll probably feel a difference. That right leg probably feels very different than the left leg. So we'll switch sides. Again, if you're using props, have them close, hands to your hips. Now this time we're gonna step the right leg back about 2 feet. Alignment is important here, right? So it's always important, but especially in this kind of pose. Back toes are pointing toward like 1 o'clock or the upper right corner of your mat. Left foot goes a few inches wider to the left. So you should give your hips plenty of space to open. If those of you who have more narrow hips, maybe you might be more comfortable with that foot only just like an inch wider. Now we'll draw our arms back just like before. Reaching active, then bring your hands to your wrist, to your forearm, or to your elbow. Bring your other arm in the position on the bottom. So it should feel different. Not the same arm on top. You're gonna lift up tall, engage the core, come down halfway, press through both feet equally, then gently bow down the whole way down. This is definitely a balancing pose. So you want to hug inward and then through the pressing down of your legs, just like before, we let the body melt. Maybe eyes closed or just soften your gaze. It's normal to feel wobbly here. You get more stability by pressing down through the feet and actively engaging your inner thighs toward each other. Then let's release our hands down. Lift up halfway, either on your fingertips or use blocks. Now, I have a sensitive low back, so I really like to use blocks. Now, like before, what we're going to do is bring now the left hand at the left hip. So the whole time your back body is pretty stable, right? It's not kind of moving too much. It's mostly the hips. The right hip draws forward, left hip draws back. Press through your left big toe, open your chest to the left. You either stay here or you add that reach of the left arm up towards the ceiling. You should be facing towards the left. Keep hugging the inner thighs in, and even reach through the crown of your head, kind of like a turtle sort of coming out of the shell with its little head there. How is your breathing? If it's really labored, relax the effort a tiny bit. Jaw is soft. Let's all exhale, lower, down, forward fold. Few breaths, forward fold over the left leg. Then step forward into a forward fold. We'll bend the knees. Inhale, circle all the way up to the sky. Reach up tall. Exhale, hands come down by the sides. And just take a few breaths. Close your eyes or soften your gaze and just feeling into the whole body. It's actually so good to do this during class where we scan from our head down to our feet and then we relax in places maybe where we like tightened up and added a grip, maybe the shoulders, the low back, the hips. Make sure nothing is locking so you feel receptive and relaxed. And then open your eyes. So we're going to just do one more balance this morning before we bring it down to the ground. And again, if you've got blocks or even just like kind of like I've got my little table here, you can even use the table like that. And what we're going to do is a little balance. So I'll show the option if you need to use props, if you're feeling a little balance challenge this morning. So the poses, I know a lot of you have probably done this with me before. You're going to, if you're using a prop, bring one foot on the prop. If you're not using a prop, you're going to just bring your hands interlaced around your shin. And let's all start with the right leg. So either the foot on a prop where it feels okay, it's not too much pressure, or the hands interlaced to the shin. Now you're going to bring your right hand to your right hip, and your left hand either stays at the shin or bring your left hand on top of your thigh if you're using that balancing prop. Now you're going to bring your gaze to the right. So it's the same sort of action that we were doing in pyramid, except for we're in a different kind of orientation, and then maybe extend your right hand back towards your back body. Don't lean back, right? Be straight up and down as much as you can. It's a lot of activation in the core here to keep that low back happy. And come back to center, and then release that leg and give your arms and hips a little shake. It's important in the yoga practice just to be like kind with yourself, especially if it's not easy for you. If it is easy, you just activate deeper, right? So it's accessible for all of us. Now we'll do the left side, either foot to the block or another prop. Engage the core, or hands to the shin. If you're doing hands to shin, bring the opposite pointer finger on top. Now we'll all take our left hand to the left hip. So you press down, right hand on top of the thigh or to the shin. Lift, lift, lift. Maybe begin to open that left arm backwards. Take a few breaths. If it hurts your shoulder, bring your hand to your hip. If you feel any sensitivity in the low back, use a block or another prop to help you here. Make sure you're not holding breath. And slowly exhale, come back to center, release the legs, release the arms, and we're gonna come onto our back. So go ahead and come down, and I want you to, actually, before you come all the way down, if you've got a block, great, grab it. If you don't, and you've got a pillow, that's not gonna slide around too much, or a blanket, grab that. And I'll show you what we're gonna do here. So we're gonna do bridge pose with a little elevation under us. If you've got a pillow, just make sure, or a blanket, right, that it's pretty sturdy and at a height of no more than about 4 inches. If you've got a block, you're gonna use the longer, lower setting. So I'm gonna just do it with a block. You're going to very, very, very slowly actually move the prop to the side, come down onto your back first, and you're gonna set up into like a bridge pose. And you're gonna lift your hips and then slide either the block or the pillow or blanket. So that way it's right at your low back. If you know where the sacrum is, that sort of round part of the low back, that's about where we want it. It's not on your ribs. It's, I would say, like, depending upon your torso, 2 to 3 fingers distance from your low rib to your low back, approximately. It should feel comfortable. And bring your arms by your sides. Tuck your shoulders in, kind of like what we were going to typically do if you were in a bridge pose. And then from here, you're gonna lift your right knee off the ground, lift your right foot, extend your right leg straight up to the sky. You're welcome to bend the knee if you need. And then the left leg, the knee can either be bent or you can straighten your left leg. If you've got room, straighten it all the way. If that's a real challenge to do this with the left leg straight, re-bend the knee. And we'll take 5 breaths here. So yeah, so the left leg, the foot is on the ground, or the left leg is completely straight on the ground. And the right leg is up towards the ceiling. All right, everyone, so now you're gonna untuck your shoulders and bring your hands to your right leg, interlaced, or just get what you can. So the left leg is still either straight or the left knee is bent, and the hands are interlaced around your right leg. If there's any discomfort in your low back, you probably need to move the block down a little bit more so it's not quite so far up your back. Now we'll just release both feet down, both knees are bent, just pausing there in a supported bridge pose. Retuck your shoulders, and then we'll draw the left knee in and extend the left leg up. So it's like a one-legged supported bridge. Then you're welcome to extend your right leg long. If you have really tight hamstrings, of course, the left knee can be bent or the right knee. So you're just reaching in opposite directions. It's great for the back body. And then we'll all go ahead and release the tucked shoulders, interlace your hands around your left leg, or just get what you can. You can also use a strap to help you. So the pose is an opening and a stretch, but we want to just make sure it feels sustainable and comfortable for the next few breaths. Two more breaths. Keep the right foot flexed, right toes pointing up towards the sky. And go ahead and release the left foot down. Now, I invite you to first bend both knees. Then we're gonna go slowly into a supported kind of full back bend here on the block or blanket or pillow, whatever you're using. So you want to make sure your ribs are drawn in toward each other, and then you're going to extend your arms straight up to the sky. So just lifting those arms up, palms face toward each other. Then from here, you're going to let your arms go all the way back behind you. Maybe your hands rest on the ground. Make sure it feels okay for your shoulder. Stage one is to stay here. Stage two is to extend the right leg and then the left leg. So your body is in a supported, mild version of full wheel back bend. If there's any part of this pose that feels like it's too much, you just back off, bend the knees or the arm. Otherwise, close your eyes and take 10 more breaths. So we work in the practice in different ways, sometimes opening in a more active way and sometimes in a more supported way. The jaw is relaxed, eyes are either closed or just very gently open. 2 more breaths. When you're ready, just slowly begin to open your eyes and bend the knees, feet on the ground. Let your arms go by your sides. Lift your hips up, remove the block or pillow or prop that's under your low back, and just pause there for a few breaths. Just taking a few breaths to let the low back kind of settle and that support. And from here, we'll draw our knees in and roll all the way to your side, all the way to your right or your left shoulder, and slowly press up. So we're just gonna do one little twist before we come to the final poses. If you've got sensitive low back, you can sit on a little pillow or a blanket. That's not absolutely needed, but it can help if you notice that about yourself. Straighten your left leg and draw your right knee in. Bring your right foot about 4 inches or so away from your left straight leg. Now we're going to do a twist. I do twist a little differently than some other teachers. I like to twist with the whole body for optimal health of the pelvis and low back. So your left foot, you're actually going to relax your left foot. Bring your left hand to your right shin, so your bent knee side. Then as you start to twist to your right, you're going to point through your left foot. So you actually reach your left foot forward, and your right hand does come back behind you. It should feel nice. And then come back to center. We'll switch sides. So extend your left leg, or excuse me, right leg, and bend your left knee, and your left foot is about 4 inches away from your right leg. Just like side one, we let the right foot relax a little. Right hand to the left shin, left hand back behind you, and you point through your right toes as you gently twist to the left. Lift up tall through the crown of your head. Just breathing here into any stiffness. And then slowly come back to center and unwind. So I asked you at the beginning of class, right, to grab some sort of like chair or something. Of course, we've got my cute little kitty on my chair here, so I'm going to do my best to show you and not disturb her too much, little Rita. Okay, so what you're going to do is grab either a pillow, a bolster, a blanket, something with a little bit of height to it. I'm just gonna move my chair just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so if you have sensitive knees or you're not quite sure, what I want you to have is to have something that you're gonna sit on. I'm gonna demonstrate with a bolster. Again, you can use a pillow. And just get a tiny bit more that way. Angle my computer a tiny bit down so you can all see really well. Say hello to Rita. So what I'm gonna do is take my bolster and bring it, a pretty decent distance, like maybe a foot at most, 8 inches away from my chair, whatever you're using. And I'm actually gonna use blocks. You could also use pillows under my knees. So you can't quite see my full leg, right? But my legs are wide. You can also use, if whatever your prop is not high enough, you could also use a pillow or a cat on top. And you want to just come forward into a fold with your head down. If that, even with adjustments for pillow and all of that, doesn't make it comfortable, some people really struggle in this. You could also come to butterfly pose with blocks under your knees and do the same thing. Make sure your low back, hips feel good, and your shoulders. So it's actually not a deep stretch. It'll be a stretch, but not too crazy intense. It'll be there for a few minutes actually. So feel free to chat to me if you've got any issues, if it's not quite comfortable. You can also use a couch. If you're not able to find something to use, because we're all doing our best, you could also just come into butterfly pose as an alternative with your hands to your legs and then bow your head down. You could also do that with just something you're sitting on. So whatever version of the pose that you've got here, just let your eyes close and we'll find the breath. It's different than the active practice right now, so we just let our breath be more passive and more gentle. We invite ourselves to come into a place of stillness. And we practice here in yoga or meditation in the form of mindfulness, how to be in stillness without constantly filling up with something new. What is it like to just dwell right here in this moment, this Sunday, May 24th, with everything that's here for you, the easy stuff and the really challenging things and the stuff that's you're sort of neutral about. So much of the benefit of practice is actually found through just allowing ourselves to be with how we are. And trusting our process, trusting our body and our breath. It's as much of an unlearning as it is about learning. Unlearning any of the ways that we put should into our lives, or less than. Anytime we get into the game of comparison, perfection. Being with life how it is a very profound experience. is really fragile. Nothing is guaranteed. Except for this breath. And the fact in this moment, this breath is the only thing that's real. And the remembrance that we don't know how long it will have here. And just take 10 more breaths. And there's a bit of grief around that, or a lot of grief. Everything about our lives is very, very precious, even the challenging stuff. What lasts is how we make each other feel, how we show up. Just 5 more breaths. One of my first yoga teachers said something that stuck with me for 20 plus years. She said, are you opening or closing? We want to notice as much as we can when we're closing, and just do our best to breathe with it and support ourselves so we remember how to open again. Remaining open, knowing everything is finite, it's not easy. Remaining open is living. Remaining closed is cutting off. Three more breaths. And just very, very slowly begin to lift on up. Once you're up, if your legs are in the straight position, you're just going to lean back a little bit, so much so that you can begin to help your legs. If you're butterfly, you just help your knees back together. So for our very last pose, a couple of options. If you've got an easy sort of spot where you can drape your legs over, I can't quite show you because otherwise I would kick my cat, right? You could bring your legs on top of your chair. You also have, like I've got a couch, right? You could do the same thing. That's a choice. You can do that, which is really nice. And then you can bring a blanket back for your head. You could also, alternatively, if you like, just bring a pillow under your knees and maybe one under your head too. For those of you who would prefer to be straight on the ground, no problem. Just make sure you've got something, a little bit of cushion that makes you feel supported at the head. Maybe even drape an eye pillow over your eyes. You just try out different things until it feels just right for your body. And we'll end practice this morning here. So it should feel comfortable. No stress or pain anywhere in the body, not even a little bit. We did quite a few openings today, so really check in with your low back. How does the low back feel right now? As we come to this last pose, I'm going to just end this morning's class with a quote before we go into complete silence. This is from Hafiz. And love says, I will take care of you. To everything that is new. Begin to just feel your breath before moving. Feel a whole body breath, feeling breath in the whole body, down in your arms, your legs, your belly, and your back. And just say breathing as one. And just take 5 breaths. Breathing in, feeling the inflation. Breathing out, feeling the release. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be effective. On those days when you can't make it to the class, when you feel overwhelmed, just do this. Breathing in the whole body. Breathing out the whole body. Just acknowledging the space that we created this morning to move and breathe together. Even though we're not in the same physical location, we do feel each other. We are in this class together across the country, in space and time. And slowly begin to feel the fingers, toes, gently moving. If you want to do a stretch, reach your arms and legs away from each other. And draw your knees into your chest. Rock a little from side to side. And gently rock all the way onto whichever side you like, left or right. And slowly press down to your hands. No rush, but just find a seat. You can sit on something if you like. Let your eyes close. Heart on top of chest, chest on top of pelvis, one long line, the central channel of the body here. Palms of the hands face upward and point your finger and thumb come to touch. Just acknowledge all the benefits of the practice, seen and felt, as well as the benefits below the surface. Saluting all the teachers that we've ever had, the teachers that we've chosen, those that we haven't. And we remember to practice and live our lives in a way that serves the highest and deepest good and harms. Bring your hands to touch at your chest, head bows to the heart. May all beings out there know ease, joy, and peace. May all beings be free of suffering and harm and pain in this lifetime. And may all beings everywhere know freedom and liberation itself. When you're ready, inhale, lift your chin, and slowly open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you all so much for being here. And thanks, Daniel, for your angelic guitar playing, as always.